Okay, so on this word problem, we're talking about a population changing. So there's a formula that would be given with the question. So it's nothing you should memorize. It's not on a formula sheet. It would just be given with a question. Okay, so P is the total population or ending population, and P0 is the starting population. So let's put in, the starting was this, and then it ended with this. So we're going to go 19,000 equals 13,000. The ending population, the starting population, times an E to the exponent R, which we don't know. We don't know the rate of change. Okay, so we're just trying to see what's the rate of this population growing, which we don't know, times T, which is the time in years. How many years has gone by where the population changed from 13,000 to 19,000? How many years went by? 14. Okay, so here's my first maneuver. I'm going to divide by 13,000. Okay, which leaves me with an E to the 14R. On this side, I'm guessing this is going to be a not nice decimal, right? So if you're okay, I'm just going to leave it as a fraction, but I'm going to just take the zeros off, right? Because that would be the same decimal, reduced, right? Okay, this is in an exponential form. What was the trick for solving exponential equations? Remember what we did? We had a nice little table that kind of gave us a little hint. Remember this? If we had a log equation, we glued it back together and changed to exponential. If we have a log or exponential equation, we logged both sides and then separated. So we have exponential, so we're going to log both sides. Okay? But you know what else I'm going to do on this equation? I'm not going to technically log both sides. I'm going to natural log both sides. Is it wrong if I log it? No, but you'll have a few more calculator buttons to push. So I'm going to log both sides. Because I saw the E, I'm going to natural log both sides. Okay, so why did I do that? Because once I have logs, I can activate the log rules. So what are the log rules? On this side, the exponent can become a coefficient. Okay, that's helpful because it's the only way to get the variable out of the exponent position, and then I can use algebra for it. Okay, on this side, I can just leave it like that because this is just going to be a calculator. These, if you type them into your calculator, will give you the same answer. You see, it doesn't matter at this point because I just need the number. So this would be the same number in your calculator, right? Trust me? You don't trust me, do you? You're going to check it out. Check it out. No? Check it out. Okay? Does it make sense, right? Because this was a division. I can separate it with that. I'm just going to do that. I'm just going to leave it because I don't need it to do rules, but you can. Okay, do we remember what the ln of E is if we push that into our calculator? When you use ln, natural log, what's the base? The base is E The result is E. So what's the value of this? 1. The value of that is 1 because it has a base of E, because remember that's the secret base of the ln. Base of E, result E, therefore that has an exponent value which is just 1. So I'm just going to cross it off because I don't need it. So how do I get R alone? Divide by 14. Okay, so this is your calculator type, or if you had separated it, that'd be your calculator type, but it doesn't matter. Okay, and then please don't erase it because we're going to have more work yet. When you're done, do not erase it. Are we matching? Are we getting that? Because I had brackets around that. Okay, do you understand what this means? Your population was growing 2.7%. Does that seem like a reasonable answer for population growth? 2.7% growth. Okay. If you answer me as a percent, that is fine as well, but you can just leave it as a decimal. So that's the same thing, but you can just go with the decimal. Okay, part B, I'm going to estimate the population in 2020. So what is the population? We started at 13,000 people. E to the R times how many years? So remember when the population was 13,000? What year was that in? 2000, and now we're up to 2020. So that would be a span across 20 years. Okay, so this one is tricky because it's a calculator thing. So everybody left this on there, right? I told you to leave it. Okay. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take that number and I'm going to times it by 20. Times 20 equals. We good? 0.54 or something? So that's the exponent. So now I'm going to go e to the answer, because e to that exponent, and I'm going to push equals. Good? Then I'm going to times by 13,000.
Wait, so what'd you do? What's the first multiplication?
Okay, so I'm going to do this again, and I'm going to actually go back. Okay, so this was my original type, and there's my R. So here's what I did. I said, what's the whole exponent? So the R times 20 is the exponent. And then what is e to that? E to that equals then times by 13,000. Okay, bed mass, right? Figure out the whole exponent, do the base to the exponent, and then the timeser. That's bed mass stuff, right? Exponents before the multiply. Okay, this is one question in your curriculum where they expect you to go to a whole number because I don't want you to have a decimal person. Yeah.
Could you start at 2014 as a population?
Sorry, if you started at 19,000 and then you just had, instead of 20, you used a 6.
Yes.
Yep, and you got to the same? Yep, yep, totally. So if you didn't hear that question, it was instead of 13,000, could you start at the 19? Yes. But then you're using a 6-year span and you'll get there too. Okay, so people, please round your people to whole people, not decimal fraction people. Okay, next. This is a money question. Okay, so first of all, when you're working with interest rates with banks, and the bank says you have 8% interest, can you write 0.08 so that you remember when you do interest rates in money, you have to make them decimals. Now, compounded monthly, when you get an interest rate that's compounded monthly, it'll look like that. You have to divide it by 12, compounded monthly. Okay, so here we go. Can you make sure that you remember that? That would be something that'd be on a test. Decimals and then the compounds you might have to divide. So if I say the sentence compounded quarterly, means you have to divide it by 4. If I say something's compounded weekly, divide by 52. Okay, so FV is the future value, and this says eventually, what do you want to be? A millionaire. PMT is the payments. So what are you doing? You're putting $500 into a bank account every month of your life until you become that millionaire. So you go there, you put $500 in every month. 1 plus, we already talked about the I. So do you see how I did the interest rate as a decimal but compounded? To the n, that's me trying to figure out how long. -1 over the I. Okay, is that okay? I just followed the formula. So we're trying to figure out how long, how many times do we have to go to the bank with this $500? Okay, ready? I'm going to do a bunch of stuff to this number. Okay, I'm going to times it by that. Would that be okay to get rid of that? I'm going to divide it by 500, right? Is that okay? I'm dividing by 500. So this would be gone, and then I would add 1. Do you see how I'd have to do it in that order though? Like the add 1 would have to be the last. Okay, so if I do those 3 maneuvers, then that would be gone, and I'm left with this. So can you give me all this typing? Give me that isolation. $14 and change. 14 and change. 14.3333. Retry. That times divide add 1. Did you add 1?
Yeah, I did.
After?
Oh, I think I forgot that.
You see what I did, right? I times, I divided, boom, add that. Are we okay with my algebra skills? You see what I was doing there?
Oh, I got it now.
I got rid of that, I times, I got rid of that because I divided, and then I added 1. Okay, dot, dot, dot means I'm leaving it still in my calculator, okay? Don't get it out of there. some people are still working. That's fine. We'll work till you get it. Got it? You don't need brackets around anything.
You can do this, Fuzzy. I did it, Liz.
Yeah, I didn't use brackets, and it just did it for good. Got it? Okay, what do you do when you have an exponent variable? What do you do when you have an exponential equation? How do you solve? You log both sides. Okay, and I'm logging because I'm not natural logging, I'm just logging, right? So what does that help me with? It helps me because my exponent can now come to the front. Soon as I log, I activate the log rules. Log rules allow me to move exponents to coefficients. Okay, that's the strategy behind it all. Okay, so I need you to give me this, and you have this on your calculator still, so can you do the log with the answer button here, right? Can you use the log of your previous answer on that one? And then this has to have brackets. So answer button, you must use brackets around that stuff. Everybody getting that number on their type? I did a log of the answer divided by log of brackets up. You didn't round the 14.33, did you?
Me?
Yeah. You got to use your previous answer button. Is that what you did?
Yeah.
Yeah. Use that answer button, answer button. Same with that R. If you don't, you'll get it wrong.
I don't know what to do with that.
Tiny little.
Okay. So how do you answer questions like this? With money, no matter what, you always have to round up. So it will take you 401 payments or 401 months. How else could they ask this? They might say, how many full payments do you make? I saw that question, and that's tricky. You made 400 full payments, and then on your 401st trip to the bank, you only made a partial payment. 400 full payments plus one additional payment that's not $500. Okay, but no matter what, even if this was 400.1, you're still rounding up. Okay? What if the question said how many years, comma, months? How many years, comma, months? Can you get me that answer? If you had to do 401 times to the bank, how many years? Can you figure that out? How many years, comma, months did it take you to become a millionaire? Okay, so here's kind of an idea. 33 years. So that was 396 months, so now we have 5 more months to go. Okay. So look at that. You guys need to start putting 500 into the bank every day already, so you can be a millionaire by your 50th birthday. Except for you're never gonna find a place with 8% interest. I can tell you.
Assuming I'm making 0 money. I'm making no money.
What's 8% of $0? Yeah.
You can never lose in gambling. You won't quit early. Unless you want that fair. I did get one of those
Okay, the earthquake question. How much more intense is an earthquake in Japan that measures 8.8 on a Richter compared to Vancouver at 5.3? Okay, so let's go here. So how much more intense? So we are trying to figure out the intensity of Japan, intensity of Vancouver, and we're going to compare them. We're trying to figure out their intensities and compare them. Okay, so here we go. What was the magnitude of Japan? So 8.8. And then can you write the same thing on the other side? Okay. We have our little cheat sheet. We remember what to do. Look at now, we have a log equation. So glue it back together and change it to exponential. Okay, well there's nothing to glue together. There's not 2 different logs. So we're straight into change it to exponential. So what is the base? When I look at this, what's the base? It's a secret. 10. Right? If there's no little number down there, the base is 10 to the what exponent? 8.8 equals the result. Therefore, the intensity equals the intensity of Japan is 10 to the 8.8 times bigger than the standard earthquake. Okay, guess what? The other side, same deal. Just do the exact same thing. Some people, I'm okay on a test if you literally just copy that. Because you showed me you knew what you were already doing. Just on the second one, if you're just copying, that's okay. Okay, when I do how much more intense is something, what math operation do you do between 2 things? So you have add, subtract, multiply, divide. What would you want to do between 2 things when I ask you how much more times intense is it? How much more times intense is something? You would divide. Okay, the standard is in both of them. We're comparing to the standard. That's canceled. So give me your answer from your calculator now.
It's not measured of that file.
Yeah.
Hmm?
It says 360.
It's Japan's is 3,162.278 times more intense than the one in Vancouver.
What is the time zone?
Like, if you had $10 and I had $50, I'd have 5 times as much money as you.
Oh,
Like that?
that makes sense.
That's what I'm kind of doing?
You always want us to round to 3 decimal places.
Yep. Yep, this is a 3 decimal place answer. Okay, last of the questions in the whole booklet. Okay, how much more acidic, FYI, we're going to divide these, right? How much more times acidic is something? Is a solution with pH of 3.4 versus a pH of 7.8. Okay, so here we go. pH 3.4 equals negative log of, where's my chem people, what does that mean? Concentration of hydrogen ions. Some of you bringing back some good memories, right? Okay. So my initial instinct, or yours, might be to say, hey, this is in log, I'm going to change it to exponential. Okay? You can't right now. What's the problem? Because you have a coefficient here. If you want to do the log changing around, you have to just have a straight just log. So how do I get that out? Okay, now I have just a log equation. Before I didn't have a log alone. Okay, this is now good to go. I have all my components. I'm going to change it to exponential. What's the secret base? 10 to the exponent equals result. Okay, so we're going to divide to see how much more acidic is something. Here's another question for you. Which of these two numbers is actually a bigger number? This number is bigger than that one, right? Okay, so this number is bigger. So the bigger number divided by the smaller number is how many more times bigger? FYI, let's just pretend you forgot that and you did it the other way in the test. You should just see your answer is really small. Okay? And then you have been like, oops, I did it the wrong way. Three decimals. So, right, if you had done that opposite way, you would have been a very tiny number and then a red flag would have came up.